Arteaga. We'll start with an opening statement from you, JD, and then we'll go into some questions.
First of all, thank everybody for coming today. It's an exciting time. No matter what level you're at, opening day is always a special time. So whether it's little league or high school or college or professional baseball, it's the start of a new beginning, and it's exciting, especially not just for us as the staff, but we've got 29 new players on our roster. So I'm sure that's been talked about quite a bit. I think we've got the largest number of portal transfers of any team in the country. So we've got 15 portal transfers along with 14 freshmen. So that's 29 new players that. This will be the first time playing, at the light, and the excitement that brings. So we're all very excited. We love the team that we got right now. The chemistry is day one. It really stood out how close they are in the clubhouse and how much they do together off the field. That's always a good sign. The more time teams spend off the field together, the better the teams are going to be on the field. So we're very excited about it. Our pitching staff is as deep as I can remember. 21 years as a pitching coach. I don't remember ever having a bullpen and a staff as deep as this one. So if you look at some of the changes and improvements we've made, that's definitely one thing that really stands out. Another thing we set out to do this offseason is to bring in some offense to protect Cuvée and hit around him so teams couldn't pitch around him. And we felt that we've done that as well. We've addressed a lot of holes that we felt we had, and I think we've done a great job. Credit to my staff going out this summer and being able to plug those holes and improve the team, the program the way that we did. So very excited about the season. And with that said, I'll open up to any questions that we might have.
With nearly 30 new players, only I think 8 or 9 returnees, how do you build a culture, build chemistry, and build the program the way you want to with all these new players coming from different places?
I think it's where college sports is today. I think it's about rebuilding a roster every year. Maybe not as drastic as we had to do this year, but it's becoming more the norm, and that's something that we work really hard. Last Gutierrez with our mental skills, and really every Wednesday in the fall was very little, with no baseball actually. It was all up in the classroom and really building team chemistry and stuff like that, doing different exercises. It's a big part of it. So.
What surprised you the most about the transfers that have come in and kind of already buying into what you guys are trying to build and hopefully make it far?
Well, we set out from day one. It's not about the sexy name or the big names. It's trying to find guys that have performed in the past, and maybe coming from a mid-major or a school of different levels that they want to prove to themselves and other people that they can do it at a Power 5. So it's the maturity that they brought was the biggest change. Especially from last year. We had a very young team last year, young roster, especially the pitching staff. The maturity level that they brought in, and they understand. For a lot of these guys, this is their last chance to play college baseball. For some, maybe playing baseball, period. So I think the way they take every day and the opportunity to get better and then the appreciation to be here is the biggest difference that we've seen so far.
JD, you mentioned protecting Cuvée in the lineup of the batting order. So the majors now, a lot of the trend is to put like your best hitter second. What sort of thinking have you? And that'll probably be evolving throughout the season. But just your thought process and how to construct a lineup that best supports it.
Well, whether he hits second or third or first or fourth, he's always gonna be the focal point, I think, for any other pitching staff. But I'm a big believer in having a left-right combination, and kind of, as a former pitcher, I know it's uncomfortable when you got a lefty and a righty, back to back. It really doesn't give you a chance to get comfortable with your secondary stuff, right? You might throw a change up to the righties and a break them up to the lefties. So by having a line that's left-right, it's just you don't get that comfort level. So I think we have the guys to do that. As far as the order, like you said, it's going to be whatever we start with on Friday is going to be different a few weeks down the road, I'm sure.
Do you see platoons happening?
In a couple positions, maybe in right field. Other positions I think are pretty much set. Right field and maybe first base would be with the opportunities to platoon somebody.
JD, with so many new guys, have you had enough time to figure out roles and who does what? And are you comfortable going into the season yet with so many new guys?
Never really comfortable. As far as figuring it out, I don't know if that's the right word. I know what we're going with. And guys have the opportunity now. We're going to put a lineup out there Friday, and to be honest, hopefully there aren't too many changes. That means guys are doing their job and we're having success with it. But there's always ups and downs. There's always injuries, always different things that come up throughout the season that forces some changes, and sometimes those changes that you're forced to make are the right changes.
How different has this been with so many
It's been fun. It's been fun. Again, just the enthusiasm that they bring to the field every day. It's been a really, really fun group to work with. Again, the first challenge is going to be Friday night when the first lineup goes up and there's only 9 hitters in the lineup and 1 pitcher on the mound. That's when chemistry gets tested a little bit. But I think with the maturity level that I've seen so far, that's something you have to battle no matter what. But this is a very mature, older team that I think we're going to be okay with.
Coach, you mentioned bringing in players to kind of get around Cuvée so that the opponent can only focus on Cuvée. What are you telling those players that are hitting before him or right after him about their role?
Well, I mean, they all got their own role. Their role is not to protect Cuvée. Don't get me wrong. That's not what they're here for. But they all got a job to do. And whether you're a leadoff guy to get on base and get into scoring position for not just Cuvée, but whoever's hitting behind Cuvée, everyone's always has a job to do. It's more about having the players with the ability, right, to do damage around him, that they're going to get better pitches to hit. If you're hitting in front of him, you're going to get better pitches, and if you're hitting behind him, you're going to get more opportunities. So in the long run, if everybody does their job, then he gets more pitches to hit as well.
A lot can be said about the difficulties of kind of overhauling the roster, but on the positive side, what are some things that you've been encouraged about seeing about kind of overhauling the roster?
Yeah, I think we got the right guys. Whether the best guys, stat-wise or ability-wise, I don't know that yet. We've got the right guys as far as attitude and makeup and character. And again, that's what we set out to do. We set out to get the right guys and buy into what we're trying to do. And not just get guys that are just individuals and just out to worry about themselves and what their stats look like and what their playing time looks like. So again, we feel really good about it right now.
I know you guys had alumni weekend and just the excitement of that, but what's now that feeling of getting things started? The goal is big. You guys haven't been to Omaha since 2016, and just kind of knowing that Friday will set the tone of what you guys want to accomplish this season.
Yeah, Fridays it's an exciting day, and last week was a tough week. It's kind of like that hump week. It's our Wednesday, right? We're tired of inter-squatting, tired of doing bunt defense and single double cuts and stuff like that, and getting through last week was the biggest obstacle, right? And keeping that enthusiasm and excitement. We had one bad day last week. We addressed it and they recovered very quickly. Now this week is really looking forward to Friday and just fine-tuning all these the small things, the lineup, the pitcher rotation, and when they're throwing and what their roles are going to be. So, but again, we've been going at this since August. It's not like it starts Friday. I mean, Friday is the first, measuring stick to see where we're at. And Niagara's a very good team, and we're excited to have them down here. I'm sure they're going to be real excited to have great weather, be outside for the first time. For us, we started back in August.
JD, you mentioned the pitching rotation. Based on scrimmages, it seems like it might be Nick, Griffin, and B-Wall. Is there official word on the weekend rotation yet?
Yeah, it's absolutely right. We're going with Nick Robert Friday night, and then Griffin Hughes on Saturday, and Brian Walters on Sunday. That'll be our rotation for the first weekend. And we'll worry about Tuesday starter after the weekend to see where we're at with all that.
And then what went into the decision to put Griffin, transferred from Cincinnati, in between those two guys who are kind of your guys' best pitchers from last year coming back to the team?
Well, I think everyone has their own challenge, right? I think Nick Robert had a really nice year for us last year. I've always said he was kind of pitching out of position. He is more of a starter as far as his repertoire, and he's more of a contact guy. And we put him in a situation where it wasn't probably the best situation for him to succeed, but he doubled it, great attitude, and he did give us great effort and did a good job. But it's he's more fitted to be a starter, and he's got the most experience, crazy to say, with 30-some innings under his belt of the rotation, the starting rotation guys. Griffin's coming into a new league, and he had some success at Cincinnati, but this is his first year. He's a pitcher only. He was a two-way guy over at Cincinnati. So, and then Brian has never been stretched out past 4 innings. This past Sunday he went 5 innings for the first time, and you could see, it got to him that 5th inning. So coming off an injury, he got hurt really early his sophomore year, through maybe an inning or two. Last year was limited in his innings as well. So the stuff's there, and the name Walters, you probably feel like he's been around forever. Most of those innings were by Andrew and not Brian. So they all got their own obstacles to go with, and this is just what we felt like was the best rotation to go with in the beginning.
JD, you've been with the program for a while. Obviously now this is another year as you as head coach. What's been the biggest difference that you've seen, that you've taken from the previous season to now this year, of even growing in that role as well?
My biggest thing last year was the players and how to deal with the players and talk to the players. And it wasn't so much me. I was always the same, right? And I was always like the player coach as a pitching coach, and players always came to me, and that was the type of relationship I had. I was the same person last year, but I guess with the title change, there was a barrier there. The players they were just coming to me all the time. So I had to go out of my way to kind of, create that relationship with them. So again, we all learn, and I learned from that, a lot of mistakes last year, and that's something I've worked on more than ever this year, and really trying to keep that same type of relationship where it's a personal relationship first, and success on the field comes with that, right? That was always my key to my success as a pitching coach. And again, I didn't make any changes last year, but because of the title, I felt that the players reacted to me a little differently. So I've gone out of my way to kind of create that bond.
Coach, 6-6 last year in midweek games. Is there any sort of feeling around the team that maybe sometimes you're not even intentionally but playing down to opponents? And is there an emphasis on not doing that going into this year?
No, absolutely not. I think last year was just a pitching depth, and when you get in a situation where you don't really have a fourth starting pitcher, that guy probably should have been Nick Robert, but because of necessity, he's throwing out of the bullpens in the weekends. So you're kind of staffing it on a midweek, and with a lot of young guys with no experience. And our midweek games, FIU's a tough opponent, and FAU's a tough opponent, and UCF, and you go in there short-handed on the mound, it makes it tough. So I think we're going to have a set number 4 starter, and again, a very, very deep bullpen that's going to help us out quite a bit in the weekdays. So with no doubt, those years, that we were having good years and hosting a regional, I think we were averaging 10 wins on the weekdays, going 10-2, 11-1 at times. So you got to fight those weekends in the ACC. You better win those weekday games. So I think we're better suited and better prepared for those weekday games.
With Daniel Couve, obviously, a stellar freshman year. What do you think maybe can improve on over the offseason? What can he improve? How can we get better?
That's a tough one. That's they talk about the sophomore slump. And I think a lot of that is created by expectations and the mentality of the need to do more. He just has to be himself. And the moment you start pressing, whether it's after a great freshman year or it's your draft year, the moment you try to do more, be someone you're not, that's when the struggles come into play. So it's going to be. And look, he did not have a great fall offensively or early spring, but the last week and a half, he's really started to swing the bat a lot better and starting to drive the ball the other way. Like, when he's doing that, he's at his best. So he's getting hot at the right time.
Do a few more questions.
Coach, where have you seen the most progress from the end of fall through now?
Certain players. Fabio Peralta, since he stepped on campus, has had the biggest improvement as an individual player. Nick Robert, after again he had a really good freshman year, he's had huge improvement, especially in his secondary stuff, which is why he's kind of earned that Friday night spot. But again, we'll see those improvements and see the mentality once those roles are given. And our job is to get those guys in a position to succeed, right? We unfortunately could not do that for Nick last year because of the need, but I think we have enough pieces where we can put guys in the right places to be the best player.
Coach, last year going into the season, you wanted to put an emphasis on analytics. How has that kind of worked in 2024, and what new implementation of analytics are you going to implement?
It started in the summer. We tracked, our analytics team created a program that tracked every player in Division I all season last year. So, and it ranked them every week. And those rankings, fluctuated, and our players were included in there so we had an idea of where they ranked amongst the players that might be going into the portal. So when that portal opened and players would go in, we knew right away if it's a yes or a no on the field. Then all we really had to do is do our homework off the field and try to do some makeup, background checks and stuff like that. That helped us tremendously, and I feel that's why we've got the right players. And then moving forward this year, we've got the new Kinatrack system, which I think only 3 teams in the ACC have that, maybe 6. Typical practice there. I think we're one of 3 teams in the ACC with a Kinatrack system, and maybe 6 or 7 in the country that have it. So that's a huge. Everybody claims to have a pitching lab, and it's building up to the side. Our pitching lab is the game out. There's 18 cameras, 6 on the. I think the pitcher has 8, and the hitters have 8 cameras on every pitch that's thrown, every swing that you take. So it's the amount of research and the amount of analytics and the data that we're getting is better than anywhere else. And we also have Zach Rippick from across the street. He's a biomechanist that his job is the Kinatrack, and just scrubbing all that information down. You gotta understand, we've had a lot of this equipment for years, But even on the pitching side, I was in charge of the data stuff. I didn't know how to turn most of those machines on. I'm just a pitching coach, so but with the addition of Eddie Mestre and Jack Olszewski and Zach across the street, now we have a team that's their job. It's all data, and the reports are just on our desk and scrubbed down for us and explained to the child's language so we understand what's going on. So it's been a huge advantage for us.
We'll do 2 more questions.
Coach, is there anything specific that you're looking for from the team as a whole on Friday?
Friday's not much of a worry. I think everyone's going to come out and be ready to play. I think sustaining that excitement and that enthusiasm throughout, a 56-game regular season and the postseason, and really the postseason takes care of itself, right? As far as the excitement and wanting to be out here, but just the grind of a 56-game season, it's continuing to come out every day with that same attitude they've shown so far. There's no reason for me to believe that's not going to be the case. Like I said, you can probably count on one hand the amount of practices that we didn't show up to for whatever reason. But I'd like to see whatever excitement we bring on Friday for the next 55 games to be the same type of atmosphere.
Coach, 2 years
Last
ago,
question.
2 years ago, this program won 30 games at home. Last year, only 19. Have you stressed the importance of your team of how crucial it is to get series wins and just wins in total here at the Light to kind of create great energy and atmosphere, as well as have a team go forward?
Home, on the road, neutral side, a win's a win. That's we're trying to win every game. We're trying to go 56-0, understanding that's probably not going to happen. That's always our goal, And like I told the team, I think in a course of a 56-game season, you might have 10 games where you play a good game and you get beat because the other team played better. The key is those other 46 games, not beating yourself. And if you're consistent, you play, the type of game that we can play. We should end up on top of those other 46 games. So it's one game at a time, and the only game that really matters and that counts is this Friday.
Great. We'll end it there. Thank you, JD.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
it.